Virgo, stop what you are doing right now. I need you to hear this before Wednesday, before June 10th arrives, because what I am about to tell you cannot wait until after Wednesday. It cannot wait until the moment has passed and the window has closed and the specific and arriving thing that Wednesday is carrying toward you has arrived without your having been prepared to receive it in the full and open form that this reading is delivering before Wednesday, before June 10th, before the window closes. I am going to be very specific with you today, more specific than usual, because what is arriving before Wednesday is not vague and it is not general and it does not apply to everyone watching this. It applies to you, the specific Virgo, who felt something the moment they saw this title. Before they even pressed play, this reading has 4 layers, and I need you to stay for every single one, because the 4th layer is the most important thing. You will hear before Wednesday arrives, and Wednesday is arriving very soon. Virgo, my beautiful Virgo, what is coming before Wednesday is real and specific and already in motion toward you. Right now, as you read this, welcome and do not go anywhere. The first layer, and I need to start here. Before I tell you what is coming before Wednesday, because this layer is about where you are right now in the specific and interior form that the Virgo reading this has been in for the days that preceded this moment and that this reading found them in. When it arrived in the specific timing of before Wednesday, before June 10th, before the window closes, I feel something in your energy that I want to name very precisely, because the precise naming is what makes this reading land in the chest rather than only in the mind of the Virgo reading it. You have been sensing something in the specific and body-based form of someone who knows before they know what they know, that something is approaching in the specific and pressure building form of energy that has been accumulating around your life for long enough that the pressure of it has become noticeable in the body-based and intuitive way of a Virgo who senses things before the visible evidence arrives to confirm what the sensing was always already knowing. You have been waking up with a specific quality in the first moments before the day demands anything, a heightened quality, a sense of something approaching that is not anxiety and is not dread, but is the specific and particular form of anticipation that the body produces when it knows before the mind does that something significant is on its way in the specific and arriving form of what before Wednesday contains for the Virgo who has been sensing that something is approaching without yet knowing what. Your sensing is accurate. Spirit wants me to say that first. And clearly, and without the softening, that would make it less than the direct confirmation it is. Your sensing is accurate. Something is approaching, and it is arriving before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the specific and imminent form of what this reading is about to name, layer by layer, in the escalating and specific form of 4 layers that build on each other, toward the fourth and most important that you cannot miss before Wednesday arrives. The second layer, stay with me, Virgo, because this layer is where I tell you exactly what is coming before Wednesday in the specific and named form that this reading is precise enough to deliver for the specific Virgo it found before the date it named in the title that brought you here. 3 things are converging before Wednesday, before June 10th. 3 things that are connected to each other in the specific and significant way of things that arrive together because they were always meant to arrive together in the same window for the same specific person at the same specific time, which is before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the days that separate right now from the date this reading was named for. The first thing arriving before Wednesday is a communication in the specific and significant form of someone who has been holding something in the interior and unexpressed dimension of what they feel about you and what they want from the connection between you and who is now before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the specific and decided form of someone who has crossed from the holding form into the expressing form of what they have been carrying without expressing it for the full period that preceded this window. This communication is coming before Wednesday. I want to say that clearly. Not eventually, not someday, before Wednesday, June 10th, in the specific and arriving form of something that has been decided and is now moving toward you in the days between now and Wednesday that this reading is preparing you for. The second thing arriving before Wednesday is a shift in your material circumstances, in the specific and tangible form of something changing in the practical dimension of your actual daily life. Before June 10th, in the arriving and opening form of something that has been building behind a surface that is about to give way. In the specific and before Wednesday window, that the energy around your life is pointing toward as the container for the second arriving thing. Pay attention to every opportunity that comes to you before Wednesday. Every message, every conversation that starts ordinarily and then reveals itself as something significant. Every door that opens from a direction you were not watching before June 10th, because the material shift is arriving in one of those forms before Wednesday. And the third thing arriving before Wednesday is the most significant of the 3. In the internal and personal form of a clarity that has been trying to break through for a period longer than this week, and that the before Wednesday window is the specific container for, in the arriving and landing form of something that hits the body first before the mind has caught up to what is landing. And here is what I need you to understand about why these three things arrive together before Wednesday, before June 10th, rather than separately in the spread out and sequential form of things that arrive one at a time without the convergence quality that this window has. They are connected. The internal clarity is going to inform how you receive the communication from the person who has been holding what they feel in the interior and unexpressed form, because you cannot fully receive what someone is expressing to you when you are not yet clear internally about what you want and feel in response. And the internal clarity that is arriving before Wednesday is the specific and preparing form of something that makes you ready to receive the communication in the full and open form that the communication deserves. And the communication is going to give you the emotional energy and the specific confidence that opens you to the material shift in the second arriving thing, because people receive opportunities better when their relational dimension is settled, and the communication, settling it, is what allows the full receiving of the material shift that follows in the connected and convergent form of three things that are not separate, but parts of the same unfolding before Wednesday, before June 10th. The third layer, and I need you to stay with me because this is the specific roadmap of what to watch for in the days between now and Wednesday, day by day, so that you do not miss what is arriving for you before June 10th. Watch for this today. In whatever specific and ordinary form your day is taking, there will be a sign, not dramatic, not announced, a small and specific thing that arrives in the ordinary flow of the ordinary hours that feels slightly different from the truly ordinary, in the specific and textured way of something that carries more weight than its surface suggests. Maybe a thought of someone that arrives more vividly than usual. Maybe a number that repeats in the specific and unmistakable form of something that appears more than once in the hours of this first day. Maybe a feeling of something about to move. That arrives without obvious cause in the pre-Wednesday period that the reading is naming as the window for what is arriving before June 10th. Whatever the sign is, recognize it and let it confirm that the window has opened. Watch for this tomorrow. The first concrete evidence in the specific and tangible form of something you can point to and say something is shifting. This is real. This is arriving before Wednesday, before June 10th, as the reading described. Maybe the beginning of the communication from the person who has been holding what they feel. Maybe the first hint of the material shift in the specific and arriving form of something that presents itself from a direction you were not watching. Maybe the internal clarity beginning to crystallize in the specific and arriving form of something that has been trying to break through, and that tomorrow gives it the first crack of the opening it has been building toward in the before Wednesday window that the reading is describing as the container for what is arriving. And watch for this as Wednesday approaches. The convergence reaching its peak in the specific and undeniable form of multiple things arriving in close enough proximity that the convergence quality is unmistakable. And the specific Virgo reading this will look back at this reading and know with the full and landed certainty of something confirmed by reality, rather than only described by a reading, that what was said was accurate in the specific and arriving form of everything this reading described as coming before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the days between now and then that are already counting. Now, I want to address something that I know is present in the interior of many of the Virgos reading this, because I feel it, and because it deserves the direct and honest address rather than the skipping past into the positive and reassuring that would leave the something unaddressed in the interior of the Virgo, where it would undermine the receiving of what is arriving before Wednesday, before June 10th. You have been told that things are coming before, in the specific timeline form of a reading that named a date or a window and said things would arrive within it. And the things did not always arrive in the full and confirming form that the reading was describing as what the window would contain for the specific person watching. And that history of timelines that did not fully materialize has produced in you the specific and reasonable form of a protective skepticism that says, I have been here before, and I am not going to let the hoping rise as high this time as it rose the last time before the window closed without delivering what was described. Whew. I understand that skepticism completely, and I am not asking you to abandon it. In the trusting everything form of someone who has forgotten what the previous timelines taught them about the gap between what readings describe and what actually arrives in the specific and real form of the actual life that the reading was describing as the container for the arriving things. I am asking you to hold the skepticism and hold alongside it a small and specific opening in the form of watching for the signs that today and tomorrow and as Wednesday approaches, the third layer described as the roadmap for what to watch for. In the days before June 10th, not to abandon the skepticism, but to let the signs update the skepticism if and as they arrive in the specific and unmistakable form that real signs take when they are not being forced or projected, but simply noticed in the watching form of someone who is alert and present and open enough to see what is arriving before Wednesday, before June 10th. If it arrives, the fourth layer, the most personal, and the one I almost did not include because it is the most direct and the most specifically about you in the interior and private form of what this reading has been building toward since the first word that said, stop what you are doing right now. I feel a question forming in you as the fourth layer arrives, and the question is specific, and I want to name it before it speaks. The question is, why Wednesday? Why June 10th specifically? Why this date and not some other date? In the specific and particular form of a Virgo mind that wants to understand the mechanism rather than simply accept the naming of a specific date without the reasoning. That would make the naming make sense to the analytical interior of the Virgo reading this. I want to answer that directly. Wednesday, June 10th is not arbitrary in the specific and energy-based form of what this reading can tell you about the date without the astrological language that the reading is not using because it does not need to use it to say what it is saying about why this specific date matters. For the specific Virgo this reading found, Wednesday, June 10th is the point at which the energy that has been building in the field around your life reaches this specific and critical form of pressure that has accumulated enough to produce the release in the landing and arriving form of the three things this reading named as what the before Wednesday window contains for the specific Virgo reading this right now, before June 10th, before the window closes. The energy does not release gradually. When it has built to this point, it releases suddenly and completely. And in the compressed window that the before Wednesday period represents for the specific Virgo, this reading found at this specific moment in their specific life that is not like most moments in the specific and significant form of a moment that is at the pressure point where the release is imminent before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the days that are already counting. Whew. Now here's what I want you to do. Specifically, in the days between now and Wednesday, before June 10th, to position yourself to receive what is arriving in the full and open form that the three arriving things deserve from the specific Virgo. They are arriving for, first, clear anything unfinished in the specific and practical form of conversations you have been avoiding, or decisions you have been postponing, or things sitting unresolved in your interior that are taking up the space that the arriving things need to land in. Before Wednesday, before June 10th, Clear the space so what is arriving has somewhere to land. Second, pay attention to every communication that arrives before Wednesday. Every message, every call, every encounter that starts as ordinary, because the significant communication may not arrive with a fanfare. That announces it as the one before you have read it. It may arrive quietly in the ordinary form of the channel that the specific person uses to reach you. So be alert before Wednesday, before June 10th, to every communication that arrives. Third, stay as present as you can in the actual and embodied form of someone who is in their life rather than in the analyzing of their life before Wednesday, because what is arriving before June 10th arrives most fully for the person who is present in the unguarded and fully there form of someone who is living rather than preparing to live. When the arriving has arrived and confirmed that the arriving is real, I want to give you something before this closes in the permission form that the sensing something approaching Virgo specifically needs before Wednesday, before June 10th, before the window closes, on what is arriving in it. Permission to trust what you have been sensing. In the body-based and pre-conscious form of something approaching, that the first layer named as the specific and heightened quality of the Virgo's interior in the days that preceded this reading, finding them permission to trust that sensing as the accurate reading it always was of what the before Wednesday window contains for the specific Virgo, whose sensing was already knowing before the reading arrived to confirm what the sensing already knew. You were right to sense something approaching, because something is approaching before Wednesday, before June 10th, in the specific and real and already in motion form of three things converging for the specific Virgo. This reading found before the date it named in the title that brought you here. You are protected and guided, and your sensing was always accurate about what the before Wednesday window contains for the specific and beautiful Virgo. Reading this right now, before June 10th, before the window closes, on everything that is arriving for you, in the real and imminent and already counting form of what Wednesday is carrying toward you right now. Take gentle care of yourself. My beautiful Virgo, watch for the signs today. Watch for the first concrete evidence tomorrow. And as Wednesday approaches, let the convergence confirm what this reading described as arriving for you before June 10th, which is very soon now, and already in motion toward you. Drop a comment below and tell me what you have been sensing in the days before finding this reading, because what you describe in the comments will tell me something important about what is specifically arriving for you before Wednesday, June 10th. And if this reading landed in your chest rather than only in your mind, subscribe because there is more coming. For the Virgo who found this reading, before Wednesday,